Hello, hello, and welcome to the Become Your Magic Power Hour, where we meet here every Monday through Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. in order to what? Connect to the source, to ignite those abracadabra moments that lead us to the power that is us, that leads us to our magic. And so magic is nothing more than a supernatural force. You are a supernatural force. And so when we come together from Monday through Friday, we are being intentional about the refill that is required for us to be who we were called to be. And so as we refill our phones and we refill our cups and we refill so many different areas in our lives, it is very important that we take the time to refill the soul of us, to refill the mindset of us, to renew our minds, to get the encouragement we need, to get the evidence we need to show us just how available life is to us, that nobody is creating without knowing the I am that is inside of them. And so if we want to actually become the things that we see ourselves becoming, if we want to actually be intentional with the gift that is us, then we have to what? We have to continue to refill ourselves daily with new seeds of thought, new understandings, definitely positive affirmations and motivation. And so that's what the Power Hour is all about, me inspiring you through just words. Words are so powerful. I mean, it's so, it can make you or it can break you. It can heal you or it can kill you. Words have the power to do the best or the worst to one another. And so by renewing our minds and renewing our ideas and renewing the words that we use in our lives to describe ourselves, to inspire ourselves, to be intentional with the I am that we are, it's about really tapping into what it means to become, what it means to actually be who we say we are, what it means to actually grow in that area. Yes, honey? Mm-hmm. What happened? It's all right. So yes, as I was saying, the first 15 minutes is about us celebrating you. And so if you tune in, let me know how you're doing. How are you becoming your magic? Are you igniting abracadabra moments every single day? I want to start doing testimonials on Fridays for people who have been going through the Become Your Magic Power Hour, or even been touched by the I Choose Me movement. If it has empowered you in any way, I would like to hear from you. I would like to know so that other people can figure out what is it that you activated that helped you. Because what makes us so amazing, what makes us one another's refill is our ability to be honest about our journey. And so while I have different things that I am reaching, you have different things that you are reaching, the whole point is that nobody gets left not being noticed, not being heard, or represented. And so when we can learn from each other, when we can extract goodness from one another in order to implement the thing that we want to be, in order to rise to the occasion of the dream that we have for ourselves, we got to really show up in the evidence of it. And so being evidence is speaking about it. Being evidence is telling somebody where you came through, what you've done. That is what evidence looks like. And so until we become the evidence, until we actually walk with that, knowing that that refill was what was needed, until we actually operate with the mindset that we create the magic that our lives have, we create the reality that we are dreaming about, we actually have the power to choose whatever it is that we want. But we must be intentional as we are moving through our choices. We must be able to get over the things that we cannot change so that we can activate the most important part of your experience was the wisdom, the experience, the thing that made you an expert in that area. And so we are all experts at an area in our life that we had to dig ourselves out of. You know how someone becomes an expert? It's because they go through the training, they go through the understanding, they figure out solutions because they walked a certain kind of way. And so becoming your magic is figuring out, what are you an expert in? What did you encounter through your journey? What makes you a little bit lighter, a little bit brighter, a little bit more confident? What are those I ams that build up your spiritual muscle? And I think that's what it is about showing up, knowing that you are connected to somebody, knowing that you are um, necessary to somebody's story, because it's about saying, listen, I went through that thing, and through that thing, this is what I became. I experienced that, and through that, this is who I became. I went through that ordeal, and through that, this is what I became. And so that's how we become the evidence. But we got to remove the shame and get in our lane. We do that by doing the magic within ourselves, so that we're more proud to speak of where we came from, as long as we're in a new position. And I think that's what stops a lot of us from sharing our truths, is because in order to show the magic of abracadabra, meaning a change, a miracle, it is about you really sitting up in that story. And so in order to become the change, you have to move in the evidence of the miracle that is you. And so I think a lot of times we get stuck in what it is that we've been through, because we're not recognize how amazing we are, just how powerful our story is, just how necessary our voice is, just how important it is to show up with your light on. I always think about us when I say we light up the world, we bring our power. I always think about the idea of you actually moving into your destiny, actually moving with a sense of confidence in your journey, moving with a sense of wanting more. And I think that until we want more, we won't have more. Not sitting there like, I desire this. You got to be willing to put in the work. You got to be willing to hire yourself. You got to be willing to commit to the vision that God has for you, or that you have for yourself. You got to commit to something in order for you to start gaining that confidence and seeing the evidence of what it means when you commit to whatever that thing is, whatever that area of your life is. And so we gain trust once we see the results over time. And so how good in a trust relationship are you with yourself at this point? What have you proven to yourself over time? And what are the things that you want to change about yourself in order to what? Start a new relationship with you. Start a new relationship with your ideas, with your thoughts, with how you show up. Like when God says you can renew your mind and that is all it requires, it is literally all it requires. Because every moment you get a new breath, you get an opportunity to be different. You get an opportunity to shine in your magic. You get an opportunity to prove yourself better than yesterday, and the evidence of you becoming today. You get the opportunity to change other people's opinion of who you used to be by how you show up today. And just as that took time, so will it take time for you to walk in a new way, for you to talk in a new way, for you to become that thing that you've always been imagining about yourself. And so it's about us really being in action for our attraction, not taking our breath and these moments for granted. Stopping with the idea of us becoming comfortable complaining. We did that topic a couple of weeks ago, and it hit something really, really deep for me, because it was like, how often have I been comfortable complaining? How often have you been comfortable complaining? And I realized that the reason why we get comfortable complaining is because we don't really believe in our magic. If we're complaining about something, we're stuck in the problem and not in being the solution. And so when I realized that the more I complained, the less credit that I gave my spirit, the less credit that I gave my walk, the less credit that I gave my talk. Because if I'm complaining about something, that means I need to what? I need to show up and be. I need to show up and fix the problem. Because if I'm complaining, it's something wrong with something. Hello, Vivian. How are you doing? Beautiful. Thank you for showing up. Now, I done blabbed all this time. Let me find myself so that I can what? So that I can... Let me see. So that before we get to the 15-minute hour, we can be on topic. So here we go. Let me share it into my groups. And then all done. Hey, Aunt Karen. All right, here we go. So that is complete. The topic for today: Are you becoming God's investment? Wonder what I was thinking about when I got that topic, but we'll see where he takes us on this one, because I think that's going to be a great perspective for us to think in. And so when we do this power hour, it's not just about me talking at you. It's not about you just saying I'm bored, I want to just clock in. It's about you saying that I want to be open. I want to receive in order to give. God says give in order to receive. In some instances, you are taking or you are offering, but in every instance, you should be dropping off or picking up something. And so this whole power hour is about you receiving from the thing that I can do effortlessly, receiving from my cup in which I have overflow to give. I think it's very important that we show up in the areas that we have more to give. We show up in the areas that cost or take less from us because it is just so much a part of us, because those are the areas that give you the refills that you need in order to pour into those roles and titles. And so you knowing who you are, you finding something that brings joy to you, that thing that you would do whether you were getting paid or not. Hello. That's what live videos are. So every time you are scrolling through and you see somebody decide to go live with a piece of information, a message, some type of inspiration that stirs your soul in a way that allows you to show up different tomorrow, that means that they showed up in their assignment. That means that they are becoming God's investment. Because what we have to understand is that an investment is something that you put into and you have to wait for your return. An investment, it is something that you believe for the best for in the back end, and then you put into that thing, and then you wait to either for time to pass for it to grow its value, to do work in order to update that thing that maybe when you bought it, it wasn't shined up, it wasn't cleaned up, but you saw just how precious that thing was. You saw what it could become. You looked outside of the condition that it was in and you went through the core of it, because sometimes the outside of the car could look torn down, but the inside is like they never really drove this thing, and the engine is great, and they got all changes, and they did all of that, and that made the investment worth you cleaning up the outside. And so when I think about God and us being his investment, I think about what was it when he said, listen, I choose you. I choose you to go down there and be this solution. I choose you. I choose you to go down there with this light. I'm going to give you this perfect peace of mind, this God peace that I'm about to give you and send you into the world. It is so that you can fulfill that investment that I put in you. And that investment that God put in you is, first of all, the idea that you would be enough to actually transform somebody else's life. The idea that you would be enough to actually transform your own life. The idea that you would be enough to break the generational curses in your family. The idea that you would be enough to come up with the cure to a disease that has been lingering on for years. The idea that you would be the investment that God made to come in and bring more peace into the world. The idea that you would be the parent that you wish you had to bring more love into the world. The idea that you would be the politician that will be open enough to hear everybody and bring more understanding and equality in the world. Each of us are just an idea to God's investment to who he see us becoming. And so we got to start asking ourselves, what was the investment? What was it when God chose me? What was he investing in? What did he expect me to become over time? What did he expect to get out of that life of mine over time? What did he expect in the return when he said, "Listen, I see this piece of property, I see this soul, I see this person, and I know that what they've been through is going to make them prime real estate. What they've been through is going to change the world. It is going to gentrify. Come on now. How many of us are doing that extra work within ourselves? How many of us are realizing the building that we had and saying, listen, I know the value in what God created me to be. I know it so much so that I'm going to honor the investment that he gave. I'm going to honor who he called me to be. I'm going to honor the breath that he's given me. And so when I ask, are you becoming God's investment? I'm asking, are you working on that thing that makes you so valuable? Do you know an investment has value? Value that is seen by the person who invests. Come on now. The investment is seen by the person who sees it as it is and can desire more from it, can see themselves pulling more out of it, can see when they collaborate what it can become. And so we all know what it means. Homes are the number one thing I like to give because I believe spirit imitates life. And so we think about what it means to invest in a home is because, first of all, we're planning a life for ourselves. God is planning a life for the future. So when I see that house, or when he picked you, he was saying, listen, you are what I need in the future. I have never seen a baby, other than in a movie, come up and say they came up with a number one idea, open heart surgery or whatever it is, whatever cure that was created wasn't created by a baby genius. It happened over time. So that many years ago, God had chose somebody to show up an assignment. And when they fulfill that desire, when they trusted the dream for themselves, because they realized that it was connected to the God piece that they had been given, and that those things that make you excited, those things that you do effortlessly is really an instrument that you were given in order to become that great piece, in order to become that prime real estate in life. And so your soul is prime real estate. It is prime real estate. And what it means is, if a house has been sitting and it's like, okay, I bought this house a certain amount of years ago, but when I bought this house, I didn't just sit in the house. I did different things and I upgraded the house. I paid attention and I took care of the details. I was intentional about what I invested in because I invested with the intention for it to become a return, whether it was a return on the memories that will be built in that house. An investment doesn't always mean a return that, I sold it 20 years later and I got my money back. What it meant was that a home was in my family for years. That I built a place that not only I can grow in and my kids could grow in, but then my grandkids could come to. And then because it implemented and it represents so many memories that was built, that they took on a house and it went on and on and on. And those are investment. And that's an investment of the memory, of the foundation that you was under, the thing that kept you going, because you used what you had because you believed in the picture, in the dream. And so you worked every day toward that dream. Matter of fact, if you invest in a property every month, you must give a return. And we go back to time equal money. And so we can find so many inanimate objects that we invest our time into in order to create the memory, in order to create that situation, in order to create that experience. We invest our money and time. And so when I'm thinking about that house that you may have invested your money and time in, when I'm thinking about that, come on, Vivian, painting, decorating, plumbing, gardening, all those different areas, that I want you to think about the flesh that is you. You are God's investment. And so when you sit and start to think about the areas of your life I was just thinking today, when we always say, I'm a multitasker. I was so guilty of being a multitasker. And what I found out was that it wasn't benefiting me. You know why it wasn't benefiting me? Is because what I didn't realize is that to be a multitasker, it means that I'm in a million places at one time. And see, if I don't concentrate on my investment, and I'm busy in a million different other places, I will not grow the value of that investment. Yeah, it may be worth a little something over time, but the more I concentrate and direct with my intention to a certain thing, the better I grow it. And so if I'm thinking about that house, I know that because I concentrated on that, because I invested in that, because I paid monthly, right, on that mortgage, because I paid toward the dream, it continued to grow into my investment. Because I showed up for the dream that is me, I continue to grow into the investment that is God. And so when I think about the vessel that we've been given to take us from place to place, the body that he has given us in order to believe in the investment, that soul, that mind that you have, that mindset is the thing that is going to grow the investment. You showing up with that mindset is the thing that is going to grow the investment. So as I was thinking about me multitasking and going back to that idea, I realized that while I was a multitasker, I was wasting so much more time. And the reason why I was a waste of time is because the one thing about starting a project and following through with a project and finishing the project is the steps. And what the steps allow you to do is to grow into those different levels of yourself. And so when you start a project, or say I'm like, okay, I'm over here, I'm in the kitchen, and I start cleaning the dishes, and halfway through the dishes, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I gotta go grab that. And I go over there. When I go to grab the phone, because the phone rings on my way there, I realize that the laundry basket is still open. So I grab the laundry basket on my way to get the phone. I answer the phone, and while I'm on the phone, I start doing laundry. Now, because I am all over the place, I'm started that laundry, and then somebody called me downstairs, so I stopped doing the laundry midway through to go downstairs to find out what somebody else may want, and then they said, oh, I need you to make me a sandwich. So I stopped doing the laundry, doing the dishes, got off the phone, and now I'm making a sandwich. So now I've done hit 4 different places on this period and got nothing done. So the dishes are halfway clean, and the laundry is halfway folded on the bed, and the phone call is interrupted because now I stopped to go do that. And so that's what it is when we are like moving and thinking that we're doing multiple things, multitasking. At the end of that 24-hour day, all you see is a whole bunch of incomplete assignments. Because the intention is to realize that if I would stop and commit to this time that I'm spending here, that's why God said to be conscious is the gift. Because I stopped and I committed to the first thing that I was doing at this time, and I gave it a time frame, that I wasn't so frivolous with my time to think that it is okay to be here, there, and there when it's about you owning your time. It is about you structuring your time. It is about you realizing the value on your time. That's how life is when we start to invest in ourselves. We begin to realize the value in the time that we're spending. And so now it's like I'm okay with saying that can wait. I'm not going to run from here to there and get sidetracked. Why? Because I have an intention. I am invested in the completion of this project. And so God is invested in the completion of your assignment. He is invested in what was going to be extracted over the time. Because once he gave you life, the time in the journey that you're living is building the investment for the return that he is waiting to give you. The return that you will get from showing up, from trusting in who he called you to be, from doing the work, from realizing the issues. recognizing the problems. I don't care how perfect your life may look or be. I'm sure you can find some ways to make it operate a little bit smoother. I'm sure you can find some ways to add more joy in your everyday. I'm sure you can find some ways to increase the value of who you are. And so being intentional about becoming the investment that God created us to be is about sitting back and saying, wait a minute, I see what God did here. Instead of me complaining about it, I'm going to figure out what was I supposed to be extracting from it. Instead of me feeling like I have no worth, I got to realize that everything that God breathed life in has worth. The question is, are you capturing the essence of the worth that is you? Are you capturing the essence of the assignment on your life? Are you capturing the essence of the experiences you have endured? Because that is the savings that is attached to your name. God got a savings account with your name attached to it. And so he wants to know, have you been adding up? Have you been showing up? Have you been committing to what you already paid for? You already paid for it. And so being able to see it, being able to operate in it, being able to be honest with the you that you want to be, with the you that you are showing up as, with the you that you were designed to walk in. And so the question is, what is the investment that is me that God gave? How old am I? And what can I say is the return, that I've given? How conscious am I with knowing my value? How conscious am I with knowing who I am? And so you ever see certain houses in certain neighborhoods who the people who took more time with it, the people who cared for it, the people who spent time investing in those parts, how the quality of it increased? It increased because we are conscious. And so our investment, the investment that God made in us, it increases when we are more conscious of who we are. It increases when we know that time creates value. Time creates value. The stuff we get in the moment doesn't have value. When you think about antique and you think about fine china, it was time. When you think about that old model car, see, cars depreciate the moment they get off the lot. But that old car, why does the old car become more when the car that you just bought depreciates the minute it leaves off the lot? Because the value, the condition, depending on how you took care of that car over years. That car that would normally depreciate could bring in way more than you ever invested because of the quality that you put into it, because of the time, because of the condition that is in after the years have passed. And so what condition are you still in after 20 years has passed, after 30 years has passed, after 40 years has passed, after 50 years have passed, 60, I don't care what the number is. The question is, are you beginning to operate in the investment of God? Are you beginning to operate in the gift of God? Are you beginning to give God a return on the investment, on that breath that is yours? I think we are in a season where we have been coddling long enough, that we have been complaining long enough, that we have been waiting long enough. And this is a season for us to recognize that the power is given to those who go out and get it, that you get what you reach for. You believe in what you want and you show up for it, and it is hard. But it is necessary for us to do our personal work as we are growing into who we were called to be. It is necessary for us to embrace that God has already invested in us. And so us trying to figure out what makes us so valuable, for us to try to figure out why did God choose to invest in us? He invested in you because he knew that nobody could do it like you. He knew that nobody can rise from that situation like you. He knew that nobody could bring the perspective that you could bring. He knew that nobody could raise those kids the way you did had you not gone through that. He knew that nobody could love somebody the way you do after having gone through that. He knew how he hardwired you. And so when we think we're waiting on God, God is sitting there like, Lord, have mercy. If they could only see how amazing they are. Lord, if they could only see that I only invested breath into them because I know who they can be. I only invested breath into them because I know what would become of them over time. I know what they can do. I know what the impact that they can bring. I know that pain that they turn into power will become the answer for somebody. I know. I know what I know. I just only pray that you would understand what it means for somebody to invest in you. And most importantly, what it means for God to invest in you. For God to invest in you. Your breath, your mindset, your vision, your dream, your family, your friends. He invested so much into you so that you would be qualified for all the roles and titles that were attached to the you that he called you to be. He invested so much in you that you would have more than enough to show up in the assignment that was attached to your pain. He invested so much in you that he said, once you get to begin to take care of this investment, to love on this investment, to spend time in this investment, to appraise this investment. Do we sit down and praise ourselves for what we've done over time? You know what an appraisal is? An appraisal is somebody coming in and saying, well, this is the value I see now. And this is the increase you have occurred over time. And so are we praising ourselves for the value in us so that we can acknowledge how we've increased the quality of our lives over time? Can I sit there and say, you know what? I worked on my attitude. So, honey, I went up in stock in that part of me. I worked on my response game. I decided to be more nicer with how I respond and not more snappy. That's increasing in your value. We talking about us stuff. I realized what it meant to be there with the kids. And so I started to listen to them. I invested in that part of my life. I understood what it meant to hear my husband or hear my mate or my wife, my spouse. I invested in that area of my life. I see what that became. And so what we're realizing in that is that if we start to pinpoint, as we are doing in the I Hire Myself Challenge, areas in our life that we realize that we've already I brought into this friendship. I brought into this marriage. I brought into this business. I brought into this job. I already invested in it. That means I put my name on the line. That means I decided to show up for it. That means I am committed to it. So since I already invested in that, what am I doing with the time spent with this investment? How am I making it become more in the latter years than it was when I started? I make it become more by working on it. I make it become more by doing the initial step-by-step things that it required for me to turn it around. I invest by realizing what it is that I want. What is the vision for it? How long do I want it to be in the family? How long do I want it to support me? Is it a dream to a bigger dream? So these are the questions that we have to ask ourselves with our lives. The question that we ask ourselves when we are buying inanimate objects like houses, cars, and clothes and items. Those things have little value in comparison to the value that is assigned to your soul, to that God piece, to that soul print. That is the value of the investment when I'm talking about God's investment. How are you lighting up a room? How are you getting past those transgressions? How are you dealing with that pain? How are you dealing with that, I would say, with the pain of your relationships? How do you deal with being disappointed? That's all. These are investments. All these are ways that we teach ourselves to operate and fix up our vessel, fix up our building, really sit down and recognize what cracks are in the house that is me. Where are there areas that I need to improve upon and increase upon in the vessel that is me? How do I show up better than I've ever been before by recognizing where I'm broken and getting the proper work so that the investment in the long run can become the value that it was meant to be? And so you were meant to be valued. But perhaps there are some cracks in your foundation that you need to work on. Perhaps there are some cracks in your trust that you need to work on. Perhaps there are some cracks from your past as a child that you need to work on. Perhaps there are some places that you need to fix. Perhaps there are some things that you need to build. Maybe there are some places that you want to remodel. Change your thinking. That's a remodel in your life. Maybe I used to think like this, but because I've lived long enough, I think like this now. That's a remodel of the old way of thinking. And the key is to always renew your mind for the investment that God created you to be. As long as you renew your mind daily, then there is nothing that will stop you from building and taking heed and processing that investment. Becoming that antique, becoming more valuable than when you started, creating lanes that rise up and meet the beauty that you've always seen yourself to be, and most importantly, the beauty that God sent you to walk in. And so I really believe that it's assignment time. I really believe that 2020 is about gaining clarity into God's favor. I really believe it's about us getting over our pains and really, really, really doing the work to upgrade the being that is us, the becoming that is us, the magic that is us, that we are due for an upgrade, that we have been doing the same things. We have been looking the same way. We have been following in the same footprints. And God said, I gave you a new mind so that you would be brave enough to set new footprints, so that you would be brave enough to be the investment, so that you would be brave enough so that I can get a return on what I saw in you. So I can get a return on what I sent you through. So I can get a return with your words. It don't take a project. It takes you opening up your mouth. Any mindset is renewed by words. Words have power. You don't got to do much. All you got to do is use your words. You don't have to go live. All you have to do is use your words. All you have to do is use your experience. All you have to do is start from right where you are. For those of us who know the logo is about loving yourself from right where you are. That means I start from today. I start from right now. I start from this moment. That who I am today is how I'll show up tomorrow. If I believe that I am valuable, then I carry myself as such. When you get that new car, after it's been some time, before it's old, you can't drop a crumb. You can't eat in it. You can't, you're shining it. You're washing every day. It's something about something new. But let me tell you about something that's old. If you took that same car that had all that quality inside and you regained that same new car ideology, that same new car mentality, and you began to start going through that car that maybe you invested in some time ago, and maybe it don't have the same shine as it did, and maybe it don't have that fresh look as it did when you first got it, when you were so grateful for actually even obtaining it. But you know what's more grateful than obtaining it? taking care of it, honoring it, treating it is as it is the value that has been from day one. Because that is how you create value in something. That is how you grow something up. That's how you become. That you never think that the thing that you got is old, that it never becomes common, that it stays extraordinary, that it stays, that you keep that same intention from the first day to the last day, because that's what investment looks like. It means that the first day I saw it, it didn't even have the value that I was going to put into it, because I know that my time, my love, my patience, my care, my attention was going to grow it into a whole new dimension. It was going to make something have more value in the latter days than it did in the beginning. And that's what the investment is. God said that I sent you here in the beginning, and all the things that you've been through is what's building that investment. You don't know, because I wrote the end before the beginning. So I know the value in the investment because I wrote the end before the beginning. And so you may be at the beginning and all you see is this newness, but I want you to know that I've seen where you come from. I see what you're going to go through. I see what you are creating. I see the value in who you're becoming. And so I'm stuck on the end because that's where I start. I start at the solution. I start at the solution. And then I rewind you through the problem. And so the solution is created because there was a problem. We can't find a solution for something that didn't first have a problem. And so the investment in your breath was that there was a problem. And you were the answer to the problem. You were sent here on assignment. You were going to grow and become the investment that God always knew you would be. Why? Because He wrote it like that. And all we're waiting for you to recognize is that He wrote it like that. And that you're just as valued today as you were 20 years ago. Matter of fact, you have more value now than you've ever had before, because you have more knowledge, and knowledge is power. But you know, as I say, knowledge may be power, but only applied knowledge is transformation. Until I apply what I'm hearing, until I apply what I'm thinking, until I apply what I believe, what I'm aiming for, then I'll never become, I'll never transform, I'll never show up, I'll never appreciate, I'll never validate, I'll never congratulate the process. And so investments are so powerful because they are willing to go through the process. An investment is what it is because it is made to go through a process that it would take time in order to extract the value that is being built in that thing, in that item, in that object. And so time is building you, and it's building you into God's greatest investment. And so I want you to start to think, what am I doing with the time that is building me into God's greatest investment, that is making me a one-of-a-kind something that is necessary, so necessary that God thought me up however many years ago. He thought me up 40 years ago. What about you? How long have you been here? How much time have God given you? And so what have you done with your time? Jesus has rose in so many people by 33 before he left. Martin Luther King was in his, how old was he? 30 something, or was he 30? No, he wasn't past 33 either. So you see what you can do with time? Because what I know for sure is that nobody is given a different time. It's 24 hours in a day. Different times, no time repeats itself, but we all have access to the same amount of time. That God has no respects of a person. He respects the person that respects the person he created. And so are you respecting you? Are you honoring you? Are you honoring your time? Are you honoring your breath? Are you honoring your story? Are you honoring that investment? Are you honoring what you've been through? Are you turning it into the next best thing? Are you becoming who God called you to be? Are you just sitting and enjoying and living without being alive? What are you doing with your time? What are you doing with God's investment in your life? That is the question that we have to ask ourselves. So I want us to sit with ourselves today. I don't know if you guys have forgotten, but I hope that you have been every day writing in your book on the date, I am this today. I am this today. And so you are supposed to have one book, whether it is, I prefer that it be a black and white composition book. They got so many different beautiful colors. I don't want a page where you can rip out. I want a book that you're going to keep to remind you of the I am you saw about yourself today. And so when you write in that book, I want you to say, I am an investment of God. I'm giving you your I am for today. I am the investment of God. How am I panning out? I am an investment of God, period. And so every day I want you to put the date and an I am, because I don't care how long it takes. I don't care where you are. I want you to write that in that book till you run out of pages. And that's why I just said put one I am a day. Because I want you to be able to remind yourself every day of the investment of God that he has in you, that he believes in you, that he is waiting to discover through your life, through your story, through your confidence, through your ability to know that you're an investment and that you're worth the investment. He didn't invest in you because he ain't had nobody else to invest in. He's God. He invested in you because you were qualified. He invested in you because he knew the return he would get. Why? Because the ending came before the beginning. You are a powerful investment from God. I want you to show up in it. I want you to know it. I want you to own it. I want you to be intentional with your walk. That's what this is all about. I choose me, hashtag no more excuses, is saying I'm intentional with my walk. I'm going to walk it like I talk it. I'm going to honor the investment that God put in me, made me. I'm going to figure it out daily by what? Taking inventory on my house, on my building, recognizing what areas do I want to concentrate on, because I owe that to God. I owe it to God to concentrate on my assignment. I've been killing the roles and titles, honey. Happy Mother's Day. Happy anniversary. You are my best friend. You are my sister. Hey, girl, I love you. I love you. I love you. We're killing the roles and titles. But when you get in the room with God and you say, listen, God, this is what I did, what you gave me. How long is that conversation? How long is that praise? How long is that honor? And so our conversations with God should be longer than the conversations that we're having in our roles and titles, because it's bigger than you. It is so much bigger than you. And until we can recognize that it is bigger than us all, we miss the whole investment, because the investment serves more than one person. The investment, it serves more than one person. I just watched, I'll be watching the antique show sometimes on HGTV, and there was this family, somebody was getting married, and it was the nephew or the grandson was getting married, and where was he going? Let's say it was in Africa. And they wanted to be able to pay for some family members to attend the wedding. You know what they did? They took the house that their parents had built over 30 years ago. And they had so much stuff that they had collected through the years. And they got the people to come in and take all that stuff out of different pieces that they've just been sitting and collecting dust that they didn't even realize had value on it, with the intention of being able to send 10 family members to the wedding in Africa, pay for their tickets, because they knew that their parents would love that. And when they went through the house and they had the people come in that could see and knew the value of antiques, pull all the stuff out the house, so they emptied this house that had been sitting for over 50 years. Do you know that at that auction that they made over $40,000 from trash that they thought was sitting? $40,000. They took double the people to the wedding because of their intention. So what I'm saying is that there is so much goodness that is sitting that has dust on it because you have hidden it so deep in your shame and in your pain that you're not getting a return on God's investment. They were missing the return that they were scrumbing to figure it out when God had already made a way. He had already made a way. That's why he invested. And so sometimes we don't see the value in what we have right before us because we're always looking out instead of looking in. And so this message, this power hour today is about you looking in. An investment is an inside look to what it was that you have endured, why it's got so much value, how over the years it wasn't as valuable when they bought it, but my God, time made it valuable because it became collector's pieces. It became a collector's piece. Why? Because they were so real what you got. So at the time you invested, may not even have known what you had invested in. But because you sat on it, because it sat there, because you took care of it, it wasn't broken. You boxed it. You preserved it. And so I'm asking that you preserve the investment of God by showing up because you can. Preserve the investment of God by showing up because that's what you came to do. I love my roles and titles. Oh, they feed me. They feed me so much, but it's no comparison to my assignment, to my mission. That feeds me so much that I can overflow and fill up my roles and titles. And so when I come here to talk to you, I am serious. I am so serious. I'm serious because I know what it requires. I know what it took. And I just want us to all share in the magic that is us. Because God is not, I'm not no more special than you. You're not more special than me. He invested in us all. You know why? Because we're all breathing. We're all here. I can hear you. You can hear me. I can see your comments. We're in real time. This is God. Is omnipresent. He's everywhere at the same time, sending impact. And so super magical, that's what it's all about. It's a supernatural force. That's what magic is. You are a supernatural force that God invested in. So what are you doing in the moments that are creating abracadabra realities in your life? That's what I want you to ask yourself today. So let's see what comments we have. Because, honey, I went over with my talking, but God wasn't done. He wasn't done. But I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Hello, my dear. Hey, Aunt Karen. Hey, friends. Hey, hello, sis. Hello, Melissa. Painting, decorating, plumbing, gardening. I did see that because that's what it's about, Vivian. It's about us taking heed to the areas in our life that make us better. It's about being intentional. And so how intentional are we with who we are and where it is that we're going? Sounds like you, Vivian. That's how I am, trying to do a billion things at once and feeling whooped at the end of the day, and yet nothing actually got done. I've been better about it since I hired myself. I'm telling you, I've been better about it because I realized that I was doing a million things and getting nothing done. And imagine if I had took the time and isolated the time. Oh, my life would just be working so much more smoother, like a job. Is momentum. So we create momentum when we do that. Yes, I have seen the beautiful upkept house next to the broken down, dirty yard house. Come on. Because but it all boils down to where your focus at. You know, how you're valuing what it is that you put your money into, how you're valuing your time. And so that's important. It's important to recognize that that's how we are as people, like those houses, where we're all in the same atmosphere, all getting the same type of stuff, but one house is at the top and one house is struggling. It's just because of the consciousness. It's because of the intention. The only difference was one person put time aside to nurture that and the other person didn't. That's it. Because we all got the same time. And it don't have to cost a lot. It just has to take your time. I found that out when I was like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. And my husband like, well, we could just paint it. I couldn't even see. As visual as I am with poetry and all that, I could not see a clean. If it's all over the place, I'm like, I can't see it. I can't be here. So I had to learn to visualize myself being married to Rondell. Let me tell you, he will make me visualize. And it was like, oh, we turned it into this beautiful masterpiece. How did we do that? Because we realized that if we were committed to the time, it may have spent us an hour, but it only cost us $30 to change it. It didn't cost much, and it required our time. And when we were willing to do it, we got the value out of it, out of the time we spent. And so if you're going to spend your time there, you better make it count. I'm better than I was. Come on now. I've got new cracks that need caulking right now. And every day, that's the thing. If we start taking care of one thing, then we fix up that house. So there may be a crack on this side, but I can do this crack, one crack at a time. You can't do all the cracks at the same time. But every crack you fix, you lose less stuff seeping out. So we got to be intentional about fixing the cracks so we can stop falling out so much. So when somebody refills you, you're empty already because you got so many holes. But if I can just start to take care of this house of mine and fix that part and fix that part and fix it one by one, then eventually the buildup begins to grow because so much is not spilling out at the same time. And so it's really being about intentional. I might need to crack somebody upside the head. Just kidding. There's Melissa. Look, Vivian. I know Melissa. Isn't Vivian hilarious? Don't we all want to crack somebody up beside the head? But you know what? We choose like Michelle, First Lady says, Michelle Obama. Listen, when they go low, we go high. So that's hard, but it's intentional. Words are a gift. Words are magic. They really are. They really are. They really are. Choo choo. Hey, Sabrina. I don't know if you're still here, if you done got caught off, but hey, my love. Good to see you on. It's a lot of it away. Come on now. How many of us can sit down and think about the money we pissed away? How further we be in our dreams had we had more of guidance before? Come on. Even though I've been very frugal my whole life. But my time is what I pissed away. I pissed away a lot of time. So I won't say I pissed away a lot of money, but time is money. So I guess it's still the same thing. Definitely pissed away a lot of time. Slowly but surely becoming the best version of myself. Come on, Vivian. And that's what it's about. I celebrate you for that. Oh, I celebrate you for that. I celebrate you for that. I am the investment of God. Come on. Thank you, Melissa Price, for tagging me. Don't ever stop. Preach pressure. Thank you, Sabrina. See that? That's what I tell you. Melissa will find you. I am an investment for God. Come on now. It seems like we done found out I am. Sabrina Wills, it's always so good when you come through. I know. Don't we miss Sabrina? Miss Wilson. Miss Wilson. Okay, so where we at? Brittany Thomas, hey Queen, you still celebrating your birthday, love? Let me see that shirt you got on. It's the same as the red one hanging up behind you. Yes, it is. This one just has the bling around it, so you can get it with vinyl. I have one that has a clear bling around, but it's the same exact one. Yes, it is. You can find that right here. No, ma'am. Melissa Price, her sister, is tired. Brittany was partying, y'all. She was partying. Happy birthday, Brittany. It's Scorpion season. It's all about discipline. No cracking people upside the head. Period. And so look at there. We are 58 minutes in. I got through to everybody's comments. So listen. I'm panning out to be a great investment for God. I can vouch for myself. Come on now. How many want to say, I am panning out to be? You got to own it because everybody here, I know you are a great investment of God. I know your hearts. I know your spirits. I've spoken to all of you guys, dealt with many of you. So I already know that you are investment. We are at the 59-minute mark. So we're going to hurry up and get this in. At this time, if there's anything that you would see that you want to purchase any of the books, 365 Days. If you would like to send a love offering, my Cash App is up there. If you would like to purchase an item, there's so many things that are on sale when you shop live. I'm live every Monday through Friday from 9 to 10. I actually gave myself a real schedule. And on Saturday and Sundays, it is my intention to be here from 7 to 8 so that I can clock into me. I can't say what I want unless I want to be what I want. If I can show up for you, I can show up for me. So here we go, you guys. We're going to find out what is the I am. So right now, God, we ask that you would please give us a special I am that will represent the show as a whole today, God. We know that without you, we would not be. And so we ask that you would continue to believe in the investment in us, that investment that you made so many years ago when you decided to send us through our parents' womb in order to what? Become the solution to somebody's problem. And so right now, God, I ask you to touch a card that will represent the I am that you want us to see in ourselves on this day as we represent, are you becoming God's investment? So here we go. Eyes closed. Let's see. This is it. It is I am my Zen. I am my Zen. Do you know what it means to be Zen? To be Zen is to be at peace, to be calm, to be okay with where you are at all times. But you know, Zen is characterized by great enthusiasm. My Zen emphasizing the value of meditation and intuition in oneself. Ooh, a state of calm, attentiveness in which one's actions are guided by intuition rather than by conscious effort. So come on now. So our intuition, that is that God piece, that is the investment that is you. So if that is not a perfect word to end out this power hour, I don't know what is. Let's say that again. My Zen, emphasizing the value of meditation and intuition in oneself. A state of calm attentiveness in which one's actions are guided by intuition rather than by conscious effort. And so I have to understand that the peace, that energy, that attentiveness, that calm is how I get to show up as the investment from God. He needs us to keep a clear mind, a clear heart, being guided by our God peace. That thing that is one of a kind that he's given us, that he knows, which pre-qualifies us for who we were called to be. And so, as you know, we are at the end of our Become Your Magic Power Hour. You've been listening to the Queen of Soul Stirring Inspiration, your soul coach, prophetic poet, you name it. But most importantly, I'm on assignment to allow you to see that as long as I shine, and you shine, there will never be a dark place in the room. That it is a relay race and somebody is relying on you to turn your heartbeat into a soul beat in order to leave a soul print. Because the fingerprint, it tells us what we got wrong in this world, but the soul print, it tells us what we got right. And what God got right was the investment of you. So are you becoming God's investment by what? Tapping into the Zen that is you so that you can know that you were meant to sustain through time. I celebrate you. I love you. Don't forget to put I am my Zen, whether it's a replay, whether it's in real time. Remember that you have the power to become your magic by showing up in every single abracadabra moment that allows you to show the world the investment that God placed in you when he gave you breath. Love you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow at 12 for the Power Hour. Later on tonight, if you want to shop in the Bling Boutique, I want you to know that you are worth the price of admission. You are. You can never turn on anybody else's light, but you can provide enough light for them to find their switch. So it is your responsibility to stay lit in this world so somebody can find their way out of the darkness. Love you guys, and remember, I choose me Hashtag no more excuses because you were born enough. See you guys tomorrow or later on tonight. Take care of those souls. Bye, my loves. Let me get this last. Yes, come on. Come on. I am my own Zen. Don't forget to tune in at 2 p.m. or 2:15-ish for Miss Melissa Price and her amazing readings from her book, Lessons in Love and Legacies. Look, I got it all over the place. Y'all know by now. We're dealing with love today. See you guys at 2:15 as we support another queen who is what? Showing up in her light. That is your responsibility to make sure that the investment that God gives you is going to bless somebody else, because when it's bigger than you, it must be God. Love you. Bye-bye.